Hey guys, very good evening. So please do confirm whether my screen is visible to you all at the same time. Am I audible to you all? So with your response, I just want to proceed further. So you can respond me with the emojis, or else you can also give a Q&A response. Okay, so everything is visible, right? Cool, that makes more sense. How we can keep proceeding for the further session. So I want to wait for 2 more minutes for our friends to join in the session. So in 2 minutes, we will begin actual content. And before that, I just want to interact with you all. So within a basic question and understanding till what part you are there in the Salesforce. Okay, first question follows like this. You all know the reason why you are there in this session? If yes, give your comments over the Q&A. So I'm just going through the Q&A right now. So if you are knowing the reason why you are there in this session, and please give me a comment over the Q&A section so that I can know. And please don't give S as a reason. Just elaborate your reason why you are there in this call. Okay, let me read those responses. I am here there for the interview preparation. I think for real interview preparation. Can you please explain why Salesforce? Yeah, cool. Definitely, I go through this question in this call. I want to learn more about the Salesforce. Looks interesting. For the quick revision of the interview, cool. To learn about the Salesforce for interview purpose. Yep, cool. Now it's like more repeated answers I can see here. Cool. So with these responses, I think people who are not aware of this call, so now they got a reason like what kind of stuff we are going to discuss in this call. Makes sense, right? And if that is making sense, the exact purpose of this call to you all. Now you all give me a thumbs up over the call so that we will proceed and begin. Still, I want to wait more than a minute. I exactly want to start this call at 18:10. 18:10. So, as you all mentioned, let me give a recap from my side. Yes, we will discuss why Salesforce, what Salesforce does, and basic understanding of the Salesforce. And moving forward, we will go through the basic questions we'll be expecting in the Salesforce. And this interview preparation session has been launched intention of making you to place on the Salesforce interview. So as you all know, we from the SmartBiz team conducting a career fair on behalf of the people who has been a part of virtual internship program. For you all, we as a SmartBridge and the Salesforce together giving an opportunities to make utilize your skill which is there on the Salesforce to secure a job on the Salesforce domain. Okay, so I hope you all utilize this opportunity to extreme and make you got an opportunity as a Salesforce domain in various companies. Yep, cool, man. I think it's time to get start with the content. So let me start like this. So basically, wherever you go, being in a freshers, people would expect this question. First question is like, what is CRM? So how many answers I can see now? What is CRM? When you go and type what is CRM, what is the first expected answer in the Google you find? In short word, in a single word, if someone is asking what is Salesforce, what is the expected answer you will be expecting? Is interview or for people who are not paid any money for mock? See, this is completely free. It's not like it's a paid session or not expecting anything from your side. It's completely free. Yes, I can see only common answer in the chat telling that customer relationship management. You all right, and I can see some description like this management. It's in a system strategy business user to, and I can also see some questions, some answers has been copied from the Google directly and even ChatGPT. Okay, so it's not wrong when you copy something from there, but it's like I feel very happy like you are showing in interest towards the session. So that's what I'm expecting from you all. So when I ask you questions, if you are aware of that question, please give me the answer on the chat directly. Still, if you're not aware of that question, you can go through the any resource find within your fingertips and just find an answer from there and just paste it over here. The reason when you go through any source you have in your fingertips, what happens is when you read that answer, when I'm asking you questions, you never forget that kind of question again. So hopefully you might expect the same question in the interview also, right? So make sure that these sessions goes an interaction between you and me, not like an regular sessions we go through. It's like an interaction session I want to make. Okay, it's like a one-on-one session or one-on-two session, 1 or 3 session. So whenever I ask you questions, try to give an responses from your side. Okay. So it's all true, like your answers are true. When I ask what is Salesforce, the first answer will be like it's a customer relationship management. It's a CRM we call. Then what does the CRM do? The followed question will be like this: what does the CRM do? So CRM is a kind of a tool, or CRM is a kind of software we call. This software helps to build a relationship between the customer and the business. Business in the sense, business prospective side, the one who is dealing the business. It helps to build a relationship from the customer to that business who is there as in a business side. How does this do? These do helping the sales application. These do helps in the service application. How it is going to do? Yes, it's okay, Rakesh, you told that sales application helps, service application helps, but how actually it is going to do? So in the technical terms, it actually do based on the multiple factors. One thing is like Salesforce is in a customer 360 tool. So what does it mean, customer 360 tool? It means, so whenever you have a customer lead with you, it gives a complete picture of that customer, like what was the previous purchases with us. Okay, what is the intention towards this product he is showing? Okay, how many times that customer has been visited that particular website? And at the same time, how many regular calls we are having with that customer to our sales executive or service executive? So based on all these strategies, what does the Salesforce analytics do is like, it gives a prediction telling that, okay, this customer is going to be in a successful lead and this customer is going to be in a failure lead, something like that. Based on these kind of strategies, what we do is like, we will finalize that this customer is going to be our prospect or not. In such a way, we have multiple services which are provided in the service now, Salesforce. Got some sense, got some idea like how exactly Salesforce is going to work? Is it recording? Yes, this is recording. Obviously, you can go for a recording of that. Okay, yes, you are right. Someone already mentioned is Salesforce cloud. Yes, Salesforce is in a cloud technology. It's in a CRM cloud. And when I talk about the CRM, we don't have only one tool such as in a Salesforce. We have multiple tools which deals about the CRM. And if I want to mention some examples, competitors for this, you can take Zoho, and you can take Oracle CRM, Microsoft 365, and we also have a Monday.com. So in such a way, we have multiple CRMs where Salesforce is standing towards front of all the softwares, where the difference between the Salesforce and other technology, if you see, there is a 50% drastic change. So let's suppose if I make them in a static graph, so let's suppose X software is loading at 10 points and some other Y software is loading at 20 points and Salesforce is loading at 80 points. So you can see that drastic change is there from the CRM tools. That's the reason we call Salesforce as a world's #1 tool currently. And there are also there in a prediction that it will last for the next coming 10 years, because already we know the next coming era will be completely there on the artificial intelligence, and the Salesforce smartly integrating that artificial intelligence with the name of Agent Force in the Salesforce, which by which a Salesforce agent will be automatically emailing, automatically doing multiple tasks which to be done from the developer side or which to be done from the executive sides. So with that, some predictions we can make sure that, so we do have that prediction that for the next 10 to 15 years, Salesforce is going to lead in the CRM tool software. Cool. So that's where we end up with what is Salesforce exactly. So let me go through again chart. Let me find any valid question. so that it's interface between the business and cool. Everyone is right over here and data flow. It's wanted 360 degrees. Who mentioned this? Really, I appreciate. Okay, and yep, I also appreciate the one who mentioned as a service now. Yes, even service now started their CRM services. Okay, and other side. So classmate available. Yes, I let you know like how you can access this recording. Okay. So meanwhile, just keep concentrating towards the lecture what I'm going to take. And if you have any questions, please raise your hand. At the same time, kindly post the same in the Q&A section. So I will be keeping addressing after every 10 minutes. I will be looking into the chart. Cool, right? Everything is looks kind. So like other side, let me share the screen once again. Let me share my entire screen because I can see some are expecting to share the screen. Okay. Hopefully, I feel like my screen should be visible to you all. If so, please give me a check over the thumbs up icon or thumbs up image you call. Okay, cool. Then, let me take you to the Excel so that I can make you to feel better when I write something on the screen. Cool. And give once again a thumbs up, everyone, if you can see the Excel sheet what I was being open. Yep, that's fair enough. I can see your emojis. Okay, so cool then. So let me start like this. So now we have been discussed something about the CRM, right? You all know about the CRM definition, customer relationship management, and CRM is like in a software we can call, and for that software we have multiple tools, and that's where I come up with a Salesforce as an example, and we are going to discuss about the Salesforce particularly. Okay, and if you ask me some other examples, yes, we have a Zoho, and we also have a Monday.com, and we also have an Oracle CRM. Okay, and we also have an example like in a ServiceNow, and they have started their services as an CRM as a latest trend. So before it was there particularly for the ITSM modules or something like that, but now they have been started with the CRM services too. Okay, so let me elaborate more about the Salesforce. And if someone asks you, highlight me some points related to the Salesforce. Okay, and first thing is like it's a customer 360. Okay, it's a customer 360. What is this customer 360? Is like at one place you can find entire details of a customer. So if I open any Salesforce page in the sense like let's suppose if I open this, so I can go for an account over here. So if I want to go to account, I can go like this account sales application. So sales. So there you go. It's fine sales application. Can you give me a thumbs up over once again so that I confirm that you all can look into my screen also once again because I'm shifting from one tab to other time multiple times. So I want to make sure from mindset for the first thing, my screen is visible to you all. Looks fine, looks fine. So let me go to the lead section. So where I can find multiple leads over here, or else I can also go to the account. So each account refers to one account, one lead, or something, anything else. Okay, this is just an sample here. So if you see, this is one lead for me, one account which has been converted successfully. When the lead is converted successfully, for that lead, I do create an account, I do create a contact, I also created sometimes an opportunities. Okay, this will be one contact. That means when I open one customer details, I can see entire structure of that customer, what happening. So as we are using a dummy account, it's not for the real time purpose. So we don't have any customizations has been seen here. So if that is for the real time, we can see entire 360-degree view of a customer in the one page itself. Can you see this is an account relationship, and here we have an related objects for that account, and we have a full details of that account details. And other side, if you want to interact with that customer particularly, we have a calendar over here, and we have a log a call here. We have also have a task which to be loaded for that, and we can also load a message for that particular user. So that means in single page we can interact in the multiple ways for that customer. At the same time, we also get a detailed overview of that customer, detailed overview of that customer. That's why we call that as a customer 360. This is one side perspective, and other side if you see, so here we have a sales application, right? And currently we were there in the sales cloud. So let's suppose if you want to start in a business, so let's suppose I have started a XYZ business, and this XYZ business particularly I'm targeting for the sales now. After a few days, if I want to elaborate my business for the service side also, in general, how it happens is like, again, I need to collaborate with some services kind of application. Then the sales data which is there with me, I need to integrate this sales data with that service application. Then I need to utilize the services for the service apps application or service link. But when you go with the Salesforce, what happens is we have an unstructured application for the sales cloud, service cloud, marketing, commerce, any kind of service you take in the Salesforce. We have one application. That application automatically get integrated from the one app cloud to other cloud, where the additional integration services are not required. Additional integration services are not required. So let me take about the customer 360. Customer 360 Salesforce. Let me type like this so that I can see something related image which is very suitable for you all. So that's what one example I can give for you as a well suitable one. So that's why we call this as a customer 360, and this will be the one of the most important thing to understand. So why Salesforce? Why Salesforce? Okay, now we also have an agent over there, and you ask agent anything, that will be suits for you everything. So this actually the Salesforce page where they publicize their accounts. So for the business purpose. So if you have any questions related to that, you can just go and ask to the agent force, and you have an appropriate answer over there. So when you come here, so it's in a customer 360 profile overview. So let's suppose I started with a one service sales. If you want to intermediate your business with the service, you can use Salesforce has that service again. Marketing for commerce, any analytics and any advanced platform use you want, and you want any communication between the internal team or with the internal team to the client side, you can use this. And if you want to go for the advanced analytics, you can use a Tableau. And if you want to use in a Canvas, this is like in a document kind of things. We do have an Microsoft Word, right? And this Canvas, Equip, we call that as an Equip, and we also go for that. HeroCode, this is the kind of application services we can use for the Salesforce. Another side, MuleSoft, it is particularly there for the integration purpose. And we also have a data cloud, we can store our data over there. So we do have a single data has been seen from the 360 side, customer 360 transformations you can see. So for reference, if you want to engage more with the customer 360, what is customer 360? I'm just sharing this document with you, and link of this page, what I have been open here. Please go through that. This just for your reference. Good to have document with you all. Yeah, cool. See, every time you should keep giving in a thumbs up over the emoji section, so that I can keep finding that you are all keeping attention towards me. Because in such a way, I used to share multiple links for you all, because these links helps you to gain the knowledge in the quicker time. So it's not a regular sessions we take from 30 hours, 40 hours, right? So dedication of this session is particularly for the 10 hours, and today first 2 hours we are going to discuss something about the why Salesforce, what is Salesforce, why particularly Salesforce, and what are the different clouds we have in the Salesforce. These are the different clouds we have in the Salesforce, and what are the different industries we can utilize. What are the different industries where Salesforce has been utilized. So when someone asks you such kind of questions, for that questions, there is a multiple answers you can give. So any industry which gets strike in your brain, you can tell that industry: pharma, agriculture, education, automobile. Do you have any suggestions from your side? If you can pick any industry, please paste it on the chat. If you have any industries that you have an idea in your brain, please put it over the Q&A section. Okay, real estate, I agree. Yep, banking, I agree. FMCG sector, yes, I really agree. Yep, HR, Akhil, yes, I agree. Government sectors, yes, private sector, government sector, pharma, yes, designing industries, yes, every industry, there is a scope that they can utilize in a CRM application. And non-profit organizations also will be using the Salesforce. Cool. That's cool. Again, let me go to the sheet. So that's where we call that as a customer 360. And again, coming to the Salesforce, and when you primarily talk about the Salesforce, now you know about the Salesforce is in a CRM, and we call this as a multi-tenant architecture. What is the Salesforce? Salesforce. When someone asks you what kind of architecture do the Salesforce follow, the direct answer from your side should be multi-tenant. Multi-tenant. So what does this mean? What does a multi-tenant mean? So what does multi-tenant mean? So any idea from your side, what does a multi-tenant mean? Multi-tenant architecture, we call that. Why it's going wrong? Am I going with any wrong with the spelling? Yep, cool. So we should have an example, best example that is provided in the trailhead itself. So I'm just checking for that link because I want to share that link with you also. So that gives an exactly view like how exactly multi-tenant is, what multi-tenant is. So, yep, this is what I'm checking for. Okay, so let me give you a simple understanding what is multi-tenant. So you all can see in a big apartment over here. If so, please give me a thumbs up over that. If you all can see an apartment over here, just give me a thumbs up over the emoji section. Yeah, cool. Okay, let's understand like this. So we have an apartment here and we have a multiple flats over here, right? So I'm not particular about the how many flats are present over here, and let's consider each flat is considered as a one cloud in the service now. Sorry, one cloud in the Salesforce, like Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Commerce Cloud, Analytics Cloud, and Platform Overview Cloud, and Tableau. Anything you can choose as a cloud services in the Salesforce. Okay, and let's suppose, so for this apartment, we have a multiple flats over here, right? In each of the flat, if they want any water kind of service, so obviously that water service should be come from the top of this building, which is there as no water tank we call. And if any flat wants a power supply, so we should have a powerhouse as a transformer, and so should be there from that powerhouse. Cool. And if a candidate or even a person wants to go for this top floor or wants to go for this first floor, obviously they should use an either stairs or either they should use an elevator, right? So only the one source, elevator, either stairs they need to use. So now let me compile this within a Salesforce. If you compile this within a Salesforce, let's consider this water tank source as a Salesforce data storage, or this transformer as a Salesforce data storage, or this lift as a Salesforce data storage, or this stairs as a Salesforce data storage. Whatever the service you take in the Salesforce, either it's the sales, service, analytics, any service you take in the Salesforce, data has been stored in one location and that data has been shared to the various clouds. That's where we call it the multi-tenant architecture. So there is only one tenant, there are multiple tenants, but the data has been shared from the one source. There are multi-tenant. That means you take in a service for the sales cloud, you take in a service for the service cloud, you take in a service for the CRM cloud, other kinds of clouds. Whatever the clouds you take. So first initially you have taken within a sales cloud. So you have a data stored in the Salesforce. That means obviously there is a data source somewhere we are picking the data for the sales cloud. Now later you have been equipped with the service cloud also from the Salesforce. Then for the services of that service cloud, the data has been picked from the same data source. We need not to create one more data center. We need not to go for another data integration part for the sales to service business. So one source we have and multiple tenants we have as in a clouds. For all the multiple tenants, we get in a data from the single source. That's where we call that as a multi-tenant architecture. Is that clear for everyone? And as a reference, I'm also sharing this link with you. If that is clear to you, what is multi-tenant architecture? So most of the people will be asking these questions. So what kind of architecture do Salesforce follow? So direct answer from your side should be Salesforce do follow multi-tenant architecture. So what is multi-tenant architecture? And the back-to-back questions you can expect on the same way. So this is an answer, and for that, just reference link I'm again going to give you. This is one more reference link I'm going to share with you all. Okay, so in such a way, end of the sessions, I will be sharing you multiple links from my side where you can refer. So this is a quick reference session for you all. Hope you all will be catching up me this session. Cool. So now we are done with the multi-tenant architecture, and again coming to the Salesforce data structure. How does the data modeling divided into the Salesforce? Okay, so what is data modeling actually? So when you talk about the data modeling, so generally Salesforce do follows in a table structured format of the data storage. Okay, so that table in the Salesforce we call as an object. That table we call the Salesforce as an object. Okay, here I know what kind of question I can expect from your side. What kind of question I will be asking you? I feel like you can expect, right? There are some questions in the chat. Let me go through them. Can I start service based company? Can I start service based company? Yes, you can start service based company. That's completely there on you. Multiple customers. It's not multiple customers. It's like multiple services like sales cloud, service cloud. I'm just correcting you. It's not like you were wrong completely. I'm just correcting you. If you give answers in the Q&A, looking at that answer, I can correct you. What is the right answer that you need to give for this? Okay, that's true. Tejas, who is trying to mention like multi-tenant means many customers share the same application and infrastructure, but their data is isolated from the secure. Cool. Salesforce created a multiple trust layers. It never shares the data from the one customer to other customer, and this is a one more key features like data has been isolated from the customer to customer. Yep. One more related answer for that. Serving multiple customers in single instance. Multiple users use in a common platform called multi-tenant. Can you write definition for every term? Yes, I can write, but definition never helps you. Definitions never helps you in the interview. And if you want definition, obviously the link what I'm going to like the Excel sheet what I'm going to display on the screen. You can take the screenshots and you can type directly that definition in the Google or any platform, any resource you have that will be giving you definitions. Please don't trust me for the definitions. Anyhow, I'm telling you the definition right before I go further. So make sure that you follow that definition. Can you tell me in short, please, a word multi-tenant you ask? So it's a simple, like a simple answer is like a single service, multiple tenants will be using. So when you consider as a tenant, you can consider as a different cloud applications. For the different cloud application, you have a data source as a one, or else for the different customer services, we have a multiple platforms. So that's where. Okay, cool then. So if I'm missing any valid point on this chat side, please repeat that chat question once again. So now, yes, you are right. Some people expected that what kind of question I'm going to ask. So objective used to store the data or its combination of rows and tables. So my question is like not what is stable. So my question is like what are the different types of objects we have in the Salesforce? Someone already pasted that. What are the different types of objects? Relations in Salesforce, not relations now I'm talking about. So first I want to make you to understand. So what are the different types of objects we have in the Salesforce? So I'm just keeping attention towards my Q&A. So I'm just expecting for the answers. If you're knowing answer, please provide the answer in the Q&A. And if you're not knowing the answer, you have an thumbs up, right? Reverse thumbs up. So just you can also go with that. So if you're knowing answer, kindly paste the answer in the Q&A. So, okay, so there are two types of object mainly mentioned, like standard object and customized object, custom object and standard object. Okay, I can see multiple answers in the multiple ways. Account, contact, lead, opportunities, example of an object. Okay, cool. Okay, let me. Okay, there are also something like custom object, standard object, and the external object. Oh, cool. Okay, and someone is trying to tell me about the relationships like master detail relationship. Oh, cool. Lookup relationship and hierarchical relationship. Really appreciate your answers. Even though I'm not asking you questions, you are giving your answers. That makes me feel more excited. Okay, cool. Let me come for my answer now. So when you talk about the data modeling, now what the part we are talking about the Salesforce object that falls under data modeling. So like from object to relationships, relations to fields, and fields to validation. So this part considered in the data modeling, and this is for the one particularly who is asking what is data modeling in the Salesforce. That's where we falls under the data modeling. So all this considering together, we give a title called that as a data modeling. Cool. Okay, and coming to the object, and as you are telling that generally there are two types of objects. Don't make yourself complicated. See, in an interview, let's suppose an interview is asking what are the different types of objects we have in the Salesforce. If your answer is like there are two types of objects, and the two types of objects are going to be standard object and custom object, that's it. That's where it is fine. If you extend your answer like this, yes, we have different types of objects in the Salesforce, and different types of objects are like standard object, custom object, S object, system objects, and external objects. Then a interviewer has a questions to ask different ways, like what is custom object, what is standard object, what is external object, what is S object, what is big object, and what is system object. Okay, so as a fresher, you don't go for that deep. Yes, if you are aware of all the different types of objects which are placing here, like a big object, S object, system object, and the external object, so it's okay, you can openly tell that these are different types of objects we have in the Salesforce. But when you're not to that depth, so my suggestion is directly telling these two types of objects, because these are the core considered objects in the Salesforce. So nowhere they will be asking you beyond these two objects. If they were expecting beyond these two objects, you can go like this, like I'm just aware of those things, but I don't have a good knowledge on those things. So I'm only just aware of standard object and other side custom object. Okay, so these are the two objects we have in the Salesforce. Let me try it full. Okay, we have two objects in Salesforce, and we consider them as a standard object and the custom object. As I told that there are also like a big object, there is also like a system object, there is also an S object. We also have an external objects. Okay, so don't bother about all those things and just bother about the standard object and the custom object. Okay, as a definition, you all know, I feel like what is standard object and what is custom object. Okay, standard object is an object which has been given by the Salesforce. For a simple understanding, the object which has given by the Salesforce, we call them as a standard object. And if you ask me the examples, account is an example, contact is an example, lead is an example, opportunity is an example, case is an example, order is an example. So if I take like this, there are many objects in the Salesforce, which we consider them as a standard object. So let me give an idea about like how many objects we have in the Salesforce. Now I'm there on the Salesforce application, and I'm just going for the 9 dots, and these 9 dots we do consider as an app launcher. One more additional thing, app launcher. So what is app launcher? App launcher is a kind of basket which holds a combination of objects plus apps which are there in the service now. App launcher is combination of objects which are in the Salesforce as well as applications in the Salesforce. So now let me show you that. So this is an app launcher, and that indicates with the 9 dots. the colorful dots, and when you click on that, you have a list of applications over here. Then where are the objects? When I go for the view all, you have a list of applications over here, and a button to that, when you see with the name items, and these are the objects in the Salesforce. And here the list of objects will be a custom object, and it also may be a standard object. So it will be the combination of both custom and the standard objects. This is the place where you can find the items actually. So items are nothing but whenever an object is having a tab for that object we call as an item. Item is nothing but referring to the tab. So we have here in a navigation bar, right? This home, opportunity, lead, task, files, account, contact, campaigns, dashboard, report, chatter, and more. So we call this section as a navigation bar. This section has a navigation bar. On the navigation bar itself, we have an app launcher. In the app launcher, we have a combination of applications, and we also have an items. And items are nothing but indirectly these items are referring to the object. So when I can call that as an item, when an object is having a tab for it, what is tab? So it's a front-end interface which helps you to display on the interface of the Salesforce or interface of the navigation bar. We call that as a tab. Or else we can also define like this. What is tab? Tab is in a plural form of an object. Tab is in a plural form of an object which helps to display on the front end on any application. So now we are there in the sales application. On any application, if you want to display an object, that object should come with a tab, and tab is in a front end interface for an application. Make some sense? So here we have been discussed the app launcher, and we also discussed about the tab. I also tell you how to create a tab and from the object to the tab. Okay, now these are the examples of the standard application. Okay, so there isn't a chance of expecting what are the standard. Give me an examples of standard objects in the Salesforce. So you can note this as an example telling that account, contact, lead, opportunity, case, and order. Okay, so these are the some standard objects. We have a bigger list here. You can see there is a bigger list, and in which you can pick any standard object. How do you consider that this is a standard object and this is a custom object? So to know the list of standard objects, you need to go to the setup. Going to the setup, and you have an object manager. So object manager is nothing, it's a kind of basket where all the objects in the Salesforce has been stored. And you see there is a list of standard objects which are there in the Salesforce. For all the things we have in a type mentioned here. You can see standard object. So you can pick any example as an example for the standard object, and you can list to the interviewer. Cool. And you also have a custom objects. I don't feel like I have created some custom objects here. That's the reason you are unable to see the custom objects. So if you create one object, then that object is considered as a custom object. The objects which has been created for the business purpose, we consider them as a custom object. So it might be anything. So it's on your custom name. What are the custom name you are going to give for that object? We call that as a custom object. So there is no limit of creating a custom object. You can create that many you want in the Salesforce environment. Okay, these are the examples of the standard object, and custom object is an object which you are creating for your business purpose in the Salesforce platform. We call that as a custom objects. Is that clear for everyone? So if that is clear, and one more small thing I will be discussing, like what is the difference between the standard and custom? So with the definitions, we got to know one difference, and the other side is like custom objects can be deleted. Yes, custom objects can be deleted, and standard objects cannot be deleted. Standard objects cannot be deleted. Okay, so that I also want to show you that. So if you see here, I don't have any button over here to delete the objects. As I'm not having any custom objects to be shown, so I was unable to do. I was unable to show, but if I have a custom object here, for that custom object, I can see in a drop down telling that you have two options over there. One is edit, and another one is going to be a delete option. That's why it comes up with a difference between the standard and the custom object. And other thing, for the standard objects, if you check for the API labels or API names, you don't have any you don't have any suffix ending with. You don't have any suffix ending with. But when you create a custom object, the suffix ends with an underscore underscore u. Underscore underscore u. Underscore underscore u indicates that is going to be in a custom object. Sorry, I think it's underscore underscore c. So before that, let me confirm. So I'm just creating a custom object for your sake. It is asking me that I want to go for a classic version. I don't want to move to the classic version. So when you get this kind of interface, what you are going to do is like you just accept the cookies. As of now, I'm not doing that. I'm just creating a sample object. I'm not doing anything, just for a sake. I'm just creating this in a sake. Cool. Then let me come back to the interface of the lightning interface. And currently I'm going from this is the classic interface actually. I think I also need to tell about these two things, right? Definitely I will be telling you. Just before we have been created the test object, right? Test, hitting on enter. Can you see underscore underscore c? Yes, I'm wrong here. It's underscore underscore c. It's underscore underscore c. This underscore underscore c indicates that's a custom object. Okay, can you see we have an option over here telling that edit as well as a delete. Okay, we also have a details like last modifier, and if you give any description, automatically that description gets highlighted, and you also see the type is going to be a custom object. Cool. And in the Salesforce also we have two versions. One is a classic version, and other one is a lightning version. So if you ask me difference between the classic and the lightning version, classic is an older version and lightning is a newer version. And if you check with the differences also, lightning is very familiar to integrate with the any third party application. But when you go for the classic, there is a little bit trouble and the complexity is going to be increased when you integrate the classic version to the any other third party applications. So checking with that difficulties, what Salesforce thought is like, instead we develop the new version of the classic, we will come up with a new version completely. We call that as a lightning. And the name, the specific reason for mentioning lighting is like they want to compare that with the speed of the light. You know the speed of the light, right? How fast the light will travel. So with that significance, they want to tell that Salesforce do have that speed when you compare with other applications. Salesforce will interact to the data in that speed. So that was the reason mentioning for this lightning. So we have two versions, a classic version and the lightning version. And current the one which you are using is this is a lightning version. You can see with the lightning name mentioned here. Cool. So till here everything is clear. I feel we have discussed the versions. We have discussed the what is CRM. We have discovered the customer 360. We have discussed the app launcher. What is app launcher? We have discussed something about the tab. Anyhow, again we come up with this. And we also discussed about the multi-tenant architecture. What is multi-tenant architecture? And we have seen about the object in the Salesforce. And objects directly refers to the table. Okay. And we also seen that the what is standard object and the custom object. We have seen the difference between the custom object and the standard object, and we have seen the example for the standard objects, and we also seen how to identify the custom object and what is custom object we call, and when we are going to create a custom object based on the business requirement. And we also seen one more difference, like standard objects cannot be deleted and custom objects can be deleted. So till this point, if everything is clear, please give me a thumbs up or give me a chat responses. So with that, let me proceed further. Only few responses over the chat, or I can see only few responses over the emojis who are responding. I'm expecting more this time. I'm expecting more this time. Yes. Okay. Thanks for correcting me when I gave an answer is like underscore u. It's right. You are right. You all right. Who mentioned like underscore c? Yes, true. That's underscore c, not underscore u. Can you explain me about the tab and the object manager again? So tab is in a plural form of an object. So tab is in a front-end interface for an application to display the object. Okay. Object manager is in a place where the object has been stored in the Salesforce. It's like an interface. Object manager, it manages all the objects which are there in the Salesforce. That's simple definition for the tab and the object manager, the one who is expecting like Archie. Okay, how many ways are there to create an object? Yep, I come for this, I come for this. How many ways are there in the Salesforce to create an object? Yep, I come for that. Can you explain difference between the classic version and the lightning version? That's what I mentioned, right? Classic is an older version and lightning is in a newer version. The reason why they have come up with a new version where there is an existing of a classic version is like there is a complexity increasing when we are integrating that within a third party applications in the classic version. So it's like an lines of codes we need to build up again to integrate with the other systems, and that is not that comfortable to integrate with all the systems which are there in the environment. So coming up on a solution for that, they thought that instead we develop a newer version of the classic version, better we come up with a new kind of platform within a lightning, so which will be very easily to interact with any third party applications in the environment. So for that, they have come up with a new version with the name Lightning. And Lightning is quite advanced, and Lightning is easily compatible with any third-party application for the data integrations. Okay. Okay. I have one repeated answers for this multi-tenant. Let me read that. Aditya wants to. I don't know whether Aditya want to correct me on my answer or whether Aditya want to give a brief description from Aditya's side. But the the description what have been given from my side is exactly right. Please don't try to manipulate yourself. Multi-tenant means every block does different tasks, and those tasks stored in the single unit. So the service can be reiterated by the any block. Aditya, you were right, but comparison of the multi-tenant in Salesforce is like some what I have been explained, because if you can also go to the link what have been shared to you, and that link definitely shares for the same kind of activities what I have been explained. I'm not telling that you were wrong on the definition. Yes, you are right on the definition. Just like in a multiple blocks, you can build, and each block can be retrieved whenever it is utilized. And one more thing, Havana does PD1 certification helps. Obviously, when you have an added skill, definitely that helps you in the career fair, right? Okay. Yep, cool. That's in from the Q&A section. Okay, let me go again back to the file. So start beginning again. Okay, so we have these two types of objects, right? And we also have something like a system objects, and we also have an S object. S object is nothing but a Salesforce object, and system objects is like profiles, roles, and the users. We call them as a system objects. On the other side, we also have a big object. The big object is helps to show the different third-party applications usages of field services for that object, and we have multiple things like that, but make sure that you stress only particular for the standard object and the custom object. Okay, and then next step we have relationships in the Salesforce. Okay, and before I go for the relationships, I also want to give some more description regarding this table. And for the table, what is table? We call it's a combination of row and column, right? Row with column. Okay, you all know about this row and column, and in Salesforce we call this as a row as a record, row as a record, and a column as an object. Okay, row as a record, row as a record, and a column as an column as an column as a field. Okay, so this is a comparison. Object is considered as a table, and a table is in a row and column combination. And when it comes for the Salesforce, and the same terminology has been changed to the row and column. Row considered as a record, and a column considered as a field. Okay, and if you consider this as an one row and this as an one field, okay, and this row and every cell for every field we have one cell, right? That cell considered as a value. Okay, that cell is considered as a value. So that means for each and every row, so depends upon the number of fields we have, we have that many number of values. So values always going to be a value in the Salesforce even. Cool. Okay, then after we comes for the relationships in the Salesforce. So let me take to the relationships. Okay, now you give me an answer from your side. What are the different types of relationships in the Salesforce, and why relationships are necessary? Why relationships are necessary in the Salesforce? Again, going back to the chart, looking for the components. Okay, I have a question multiple times repeating over that. The component which are present in the Lightning app is present in the Classic. Yes, the components components in the sense there are some features which are not available in the Classic version. But when you talk about the object, particularly when you talk about the applications, particularly, so the object if you create in the Classic version, automatically that is reflecting in the Lightning version, right? But when you create an when you create an object even in the Lightning version, that reflects in the Classic version. But when you create an application in the Lightning version, that application doesn't reflect in the Classic version, but the object will be reflected in the both the Classic as well as in the Lightning. So that's one example I can tell you. What is sandbox in Salesforce? Sandbox is in a test environment. We will discuss this something in the last session. Okay, so again, column field, yes, look up. Okay, I have seen here again relationships. So my question, coming back to my questions, what are the different types of relationships you have in the Salesforce? So for that, we have a lookup relationship and the master detail relationship. Yep, you are right. And you also have some other relationships mentioned here. It's like external relationships. Cool. One-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship. Is old version is using, yes, still there are companies using the old version. There is not like completely the older version has been retired, so still there is an existence of an older version. But the upcoming functionalities which we are bringing on the Salesforce, so no one is bringing those things in the Classic version. Everyone is working on the Lightning version. And there is also a recommendation from the Salesforce telling that try not to use or try not to go with the Classic versions for the new adoptions. So try to build everything in the Lightning versions, because in sooner we are going to retire the Classic version. So but it's not that easy now. Salesforce, I was listening this from the last 4 years, but till the time I didn't see that a Classic version has been retired. Coming back again to my question. So lookup relationship and the master data relationship. Lookup relationship, there are 6 types of relationship in the Salesforce. I really appreciate for this answer. Yes, you are right, Varaprasad Yerra. Okay, and someone is mentioning like detailing that two master data relationship, three many to many relationship, yep, self relationship, external relationship, hierarchical relationship, lookup relationship. Exactly, this is the 6 different types of relationship. And again, you know, right, when you mention all the 6 relationships, definitely the interviewer would be asking you, define me all these 6 kind of relationships. Then if you're not good at answering all these kinds of relationship with an example, then there is a chance that you are going to give an interview telling that you didn't answer for some kind of thing in the Salesforce. Instead, if you tell particularly about the lookup relationship and the master data relationship, then if you have an example for telling that what exactly lookup relationship and what exactly master data relationship, then that's fair enough. Because don't make your interview is going to be more complex, because you know that, right? You are going to be given a fresher interview. So as an a fresher, the people might not expect that depth questions. Okay, so like self relationships, and what is the situation you are using self relationship, and at the same time external relationship. Can you please elaborate me something about the external relationship you have been created in the Salesforce platform? At the same time, can you also tell me something about the hierarchy relationship? These are the questions would be expected mostly on the 2 years plus interview, 2 years plus experience candidate. Has a pressure, please make sure that you only have an 2 types of relationships as of now. Okay. Okay, cool. I think that's all done from the Q&A. So let me go for my version again. Okay, so again, I'm not going to derive all the 6 relationships. You are right. The one who mentioned, like, there are 6 types of relationships. So okay, in which specifically I'm mentioning about the lookup, and the other side we call that as an MDR, master detail relationship. As in a short form, we call it as an MDR, master detail relationship. Again, you can expect the followed question for this: what is lookup relationship and what is master detail relationship? What is lookup relationship and what is master detail relationship? And for this, definitely I need to go to the Google and make sure that you are covering within a lots of differentiation for the lookup and the master detail. Sure, there you go. So let me pick a right example, or let me go to the images so that I can get you a good example. Yeah, let me pick this. Yep, looks fine. So once again, can you all please confirm me that are you all able to look into my screen? So I'm just displaying the screen for the uh, master detail wedge lookup. Okay, before I come here, I also want to tell you something about this. So when you compare these relationships, like in mathematics or in any subject you take, relationships are like this: one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship, and other one is like many-to-many relationship. Okay, so what is this one-to-one relationship? So example I can tell for this is like one Wi-Fi, one password. That means for one source we only have one attachment. So in such kind of activities, we will create a one-to-one relationship. And other side, if you see one to many, that means for one source there is a multiple attachments. For one source there is a multiple attachments. In such kind of activities, we will go for a one to many relationship. Can someone mention me the examples for the one to many relationship? So obviously you all know the same example which has been taught in the virtual instructor lead sessions in the cohorts. So that's going to be a teacher to student, or else you can also call like this for in a college to in a teacher. For in a single college we will be having multiple teachers, a faculty, whomever we can call as. Okay, so these are some examples I can pull out for the one to many relationship. So there is no specific need for creating a relation between the one to one relationship, because for one source we have only one attachment, so need not to attach, right? But when you come here for one source there are multiple attachments, like for one teacher there are multiple students. So each student wants to know who is in a particular teacher for that student. Then we obviously we have a requirement that we need to create uh, a link between the teacher and student. To know well about this, I just want to give a small example again, going forward on this. So let's suppose, let's create a relationship. Let's see why we want this relationship to be created. Okay, so now let me come here like a mentor. Let me give a mentor or teacher, what whomever it might be. Okay, so let me pick the mentor here. So let me pick my name. So let me pick my name, and let me give like this, expertise in says SF, let's call. Okay, okay, and let's call email ID r@gmail.com. Okay, and let's go with the phone number like this: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 0. Okay, cool. And other side, and let's take in a Hyderabad as an address. So on, let me go with the fields. I can keep billing on multiple fields, but let me stop at this level. And let me come like this. I also want to collect some student details like this. Let me speak the student details like this. Ajay is a student. Okay, so for this Ajay, who is going to be a mentor? Okay, I want to pick Rakesh as an mentor for this, Ajay. Okay, I want to pick Rakesh as an mentor for this, Ajay. And I also add Ajay email ID, a@gmail.com. At the same time, phone number of the Ajay like this. And location, it might be somewhere or it might be anything. Okay, and let me go for once again. So other student, let me pick some other student, Sandeep. Okay, and who is the mentor for this Sandeep? Again, let me pick the Rakesh. Okay, so let me go the same details like this, but I'm not pasting all this. Okay, so now you're just creating a tables data like this. It looks fine, but after a few days, what happens is when I open Ajay record, I want to know the email ID of an Rakesh, and I also want to know phone number of an Rakesh. So obviously, what I need to do, I need to create a mentor email field in the student object. Okay, student object. At the same time, I also want to create a mentor phone in the student object. So obviously, then what I can do here, I can just copy the data from here and I can pasting over here. So that means when I load a record for the student, obviously I need to load all this data. Again, when I create a record for the Sandeep, again I need to load all this data. So if you see here, there is a repetition of the data is going to take in place. So this has been taken in some other format. Please ignore. Okay, the repetition of the data is taking on here. So instead of repeating this data all the time, if I create a relationship between the mentor and student, if I create a relationship between the, it might be lookup, it might be master. I'm not talking about the which relationship we are going to create. But if I create a relation between these two objects, instead I repeat this data again and again. So what I can do is like I get a reference of this. I get a reference of this table. When I click on this table, obviously this table takes me to this table where I can fetch the details for all this mentor. Right? So with this, what happens is the redundancy of the data is getting decreased, duplication creation of the data is getting decreased, and so when automatically redundancy gets decreased, automatically the storage space also gets decreased, right? So such way easily we can manage the data in the database. So that's where the importance of creating a relationships has been come. Okay, then we need to decide from our side what kind of relationship we are going to create. Okay, I hope now you all got the exact reason why particularly we need to create a relationship between the object to object. Why it is required? It is required to decrease the redundancy, decrease the duplicacy, and decrease the data storage, and easily access from the one table to other table. Is that clear? Are you all following me? Please give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, so your voice is not audible. Oh, I don't think. I feel like my voice is clear from my inside. Please make sure that you have a good internet access. Okay, someone mentioned like what exactly lookup and the master in their terminology. Let me read that. So lookup, loosely connected object can exist independently, and master is like tightly connected. Child can't exist without parent. Child can't exist without parent. We call that as an orphan records. I discussed about the orphan records. Let me give some time for me. Okay, hotspot sharing. Hotspot sharing is an example. Like one hotspot can be gone for the multiple devices. Yes, it comes under the one-to-many relationship. Teachers and the student is obviously, for example, what have been picked, and teachers to student, teachers to students, many-to-many relationships. Yes, Vare Prasad, I can go with this example, but at a point of time when I create a relationship, I do think for in a particular specific time, at a particular specific time, a teacher can be act as a mentor for the multiple students. So that's where it comes within a one to many relationships, not as in a many to many relationship. People are curiously pasting in the description telling that what exactly master detail lookup on all the many to many relationships. I really appreciate your patience toward this, but anyhow, it's my responsibility. I will be keeping them clear from my side. Okay, one best example I got in the chat, that's one user one other, one user one other. Under which relationship we do false? Please give me your answers. One user one other, under which relationship we do false? Yep, that's cool. You are all right. It's a one-to-one relationship. In such cases, there is no chance of, there is no need of creating a relationship in the Salesforce. It starts from one to many, either one to many or many to one. It's a vice versa. Okay, so it starts creating a relationship from the one to many. So now again, I have a question here. So what kind of relationships I can call lookup and master? So for the both, I can call either one to many or many to one. I can call that as a one to many or many to one. So both falls under the lookup and master falls under the one to many relationship. So there is no relationship that we are going to create as a one to one. And generally, this is what we call as a self relationship. To know one more relationship in 6, we are discussing about the 3 now. So this one to one we call as a self relationship. Okay, so one to many. Then when you talk about the many to many, and this is going to be a junction object in the Salesforce. So this is going to be a junction object. So there is something called junction object in the Salesforce, and so that object considered as a junction object. Junction object, if you ask me, so what is junction object? And a junction object is an object which is having two master detail relationships. Two master detail relationships. Two master detail relationships. So I again come here. What is junction object? We will discuss that again later. So before that, I want to complete this master detail relationship and the lookup relationship. So till this part, everyone is following, right? And now I want to see everyone to be raised their hand. Everyone to be raised their hand so that I can confirm. Not on the emoji. I want to raise your hand on the. You have a raise hand button over there. So click everyone on the raise hand so that I can confirm that you are all keeping attention towards this session and you are all following me. So if any missing chance is there from your side, you can also mention that in the Q&A section. I repeat for that. This is most important what I have been explained with this example. What the reason of creating a relationship? Not only Salesforce, any technology you take, this is the one example I can give you. Best example, best understanding example. Okay, let me check how many responses has been there. Okay, few responses. Still, I'm expecting more. Please don't down your hand. I will be downing from one at once from my inside. Okay, more hand raise. I'm checking more hand raise. Okay, all good, all good. I'm just downing all the hands now. Cool. Okay, now you can down your hands. I think oh, I don't have one option where I can give an okay. Okay, cool then. Okay, let me go back again to the comparison between the lookup and master, right? So first comparison is like lookup is a loosely coupled object. Coupled, and this is going to be tightly. So what is the meaning of loosely coupled and the tightly coupled? That means whenever you create a relationship between the two objects like mentor and student. So here mentor is going to be act as a parent object. Mentor is going to act as a parent object. And student is going to act as a child object. So if I create a lookup relationship between these two things, always on a child, this parent object is going to be mandatory. Always on the child, parent value is going to be mandatory in the master detail. Okay, so if I create, sorry, not mandatory, sorry. So always on the child, this, even though this data exists, even though this data doesn't exist, you can save in a record. So in the lookup relationship, when you compare that with an MDR, so if you want to save a record in the child of the student object, this data is mandatory to save in a record. So this data is mandatory. So that's what we call as a loosely coupled and the tightly coupled. Clear? Give me 1 second thumbs up on the image. So that's what the first difference I can tell you. Loosely coupled and a tightly coupled. And second reason I tell you. So you can create 40 lookup relationship between the other objects. That means here we have one mentor and one student. In such a way, you can create 40 lookup relationships. That means with the student you have been created. Now let's create something like some other object, X object, Y object, Z object. In such a way, you can create 40 relationships for a lookup. Lookup 40. Well, coming to the MDR, only 2. Well, coming to the MDR, only 2. Only 2. Okay. And one more important point you need to remember when we talk about the relationships. Always, yes, standard object is going to be on the parent side. Always standard object. Always standard objects. There is no chance we can create a custom object on the standard side, or custom object has a child and a, sorry, standard object has a child. You can create a relation between the two custom objects, but if you are creating a relation between the one standard and one custom, always the standard object is going to be in a parent side. Repeating once again, you can create a relation between the custom object to custom object and custom object to standard object. But the point is, whenever you create a relation between the standard object and the custom object, standard object is always going to be in a parent side, not to be in a child side. Either it might be lookup, either it might be MDR. Clear? Always standard object is going to be in a master side, master or parent, anything. Okay, so this is one thing. And we have some other feature called roll-up summary. So what is roll-up summary? Is like we have some feature, special feature in the roll-up summary. Like you can count. There are 4 options available in the roll-up summary: max, min, count, sum. Max, min, count, sum. These are the 4 options available in the roll-up summary, where this roll-up summary is only available for the MDR. This roll-up summary is only available for the MDR relationships. 40 and 2 looks good, and loosely coupled, tightly coupled. Okay, always standard object is going to be in a master side. Okay, so let me check if I'm missing any major comparisons. These are the major comparisons. With these comparisons, obviously, if we explain these comparisons in detail, that's fair enough. That's really fair enough. Okay, this is what a parent required, not like a loosely coupled one object. Same repeated. These 2 points are repeated. These 2 points are repeated. Can be created on a custom object. There can be additional, not required. Additional object cannot be. Yeah, same point. Again, these 2 are repeated here. See, I'm just taking this as a reference. I'm not sticking on this because I want to tell you everything, right? Everything is readily available. I'm picking something else now because I don't feel there is no valid information there in that website. So let me pick this. Okay, it's in a video, so I can't go directly over there. So let me go for this. Okay, yep, looks fine. So loosely, tightly, yep. parent not required, again same thing. Independent sharing and the security, yep, this point need to be discussed. So when there is a relation, when how the sharing works on the lookup and the master is like, so when you share a lookup object to any user, what happens is the child object or the parent object is not shared. If you share particularly the child object, only the child object as access has been shared to the any user you want to. So but when you come for an master side, what happens is when you share a child object to any users, obviously the master object is going to be shared. Obviously the master object is also going to be shared as defaultly. When you share master object, child object won't be shared in the master tier. So that's where sharing is independent, sharing is not independent. Sharing is not dependent, and here the sharing is dependent. Dependent. Please ignore if you're finding any spelling mistakes. I'm not much bothered about that. Dependent. Okay, sharing is dependent here in the MDR. Sharing is not dependent on the lookup. Okay, lookup field optional. Yep, again, same point is repeated over here. Rollup summary. Yes, we have discussed this. Standard object can be on many side. Yeah, again, same point. Maximum 40 and maximum 2. Yep. So these points are well enough for you to derive, because any website you go, trust me guys, any website you go, points will be repeated in the different phases. But these are the 4 valid points I can tell you from my side. See, I tell you what else we have been discussed here. We have been discussed about the accessibility. We have discussed about the what are the different options available for the lookup and master, and we have discussed like how many relationships you can create from the object to object, and we also discussed like what is loosely coupled and tightly coupled. Nothing else more. Yes, we might be having something else, but these are the 4 valid points, and any website you refer, these points will be repeated again and again. Cool. Like any questions you have on the lookup and master data relationship, you can give me a question over there, and I'm just going to the chat once again. So keep attention towards the chat and let me know if you have any questions. Going to Q&A once again, please. Explain me once again. One medical record, one patient having only one medical record. Medical records. See, that's all depends upon you. How exactly you are thinking, Sri. So it's like when you talk about the medical records, let's suppose I visit multiple hospitals, then I do have multiple medical records. So there I can go. There is a chance that I can go with the one, too many hospitals. So one person, multiple hospitals. When you think that from the hospital side, one person and multiple patients, even that is also possible. And if you see one person is strictly there for only one hospital, then that we consider as one record to one hospital to other hospital. Or else when you check for the medical records, in the sense if I scan something, if something is problem in mine health, that is going to be one medical record. Wherever you go, the same kind of medical record has been published, right? Such way you can consider that lookup relationships. So should we keep more attention towards this relationship building, because that's where the initial architecture has been started for the data modeling. Okay, so should keep attention. Do you have any chance of participating in the interview conducting? See, I'm not the right person who whether I can tell you that giving a chance or opportunity for an interview which is going to happen on the 22nd. I'm not. Okay, can you please explain me about the loosely coupled and tightly coupled? Okay, let me come here once again. So really feel happy for mindset if you ask me questions, loosely coupled and tight coupled, right? So coming here, so you all can see this, right? So we have two objects here, mentor object and student object. Now let me talk about the MDR. If I talk about the MDR, when I create a record in the student, I'm creating a record in the student Ajay, and then after there is a relationship called MDR which has come from the student on the child object. Now this is going to be mandatory. This master object details is going to be mandatory on the child record. That's what we call as a tightly coupled. So without this master object details, I cannot save the record. When I try to save the record, it throws an error telling that a master record is empty or master field is going to be empty. You must fill in a master record to save this record. Or else, when I go for the lookup relationship, even though I don't give in a master record over here, which master record, either Rakesh or either other mentors we have. Even though I don't give this value over here, we can save the record. It gets saved without any errors. That's what we call as a master records. Okay. And here, one question you can expect here. So once, let's suppose we have created a lookup relation between this parent and the child. Can we transfer that to the MDR? How many of you giving your answers for this? So once the lookup relationship is created, then can I transfer that to the MDR, master detail relationship? What was your comments on this? Either yes or no? Okay, I can see multiple answers as expected. No, and other one is like yes. Okay. So let me give my answer. Still, can I expect more? Okay, before that, let me. Conversion can be done only if all the fields has valid lookup value only. Appreciated Sai Srija. Yes, that was the point I'm going to discuss. So yes, conversion is possible only if all the fields have valid lookup value. So let me elaborate that now. Yes, so directly telling, it's possible transferring the relationship from lookup to the master. So this is like yes, but when? But all the lookup fields should be filled with a value. So it's possible only when all the lookup fields has been filled with a value. Okay, so what does it mean is like, now let's suppose initially we have a lookup relationship between the mentor and the student, right? We have an initial lookup relationship between the mentor and the student. Now, if I want to transfer this to the MDR, so here the value is must. Value is must. Without a value, I can't transfer. So if this Sandeep is also not having value, it doesn't allow. Any record is there as a student over here. So we have let's consider there are like 10 record students like this. Can I drag like this? Yes, Sandeep has a sample you take. So there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 records, right? For all the 6 record, this mentor value is going to be mandate. Okay, so if we are having a value for this records, then it's possible to transfer the relationship from the lookup to master. If a value is not there here, you have an error telling that orphan records cannot be transferred. Orphan records, there is an existing orphan records in the child side. You cannot transfer the relationship from the lookup to master detail relationship. Next, clear? Do you mark that as an share your screen? Please, someone confirm me. Is my screen visible to you all? That's already sharing, I feel. Okay, so I also feel like no. Dudes, I don't feel like I stopped for the screen sharing. Yes, that is visible. So I feel like because of your internet, you might not be able to look into see my screen. That's visible 100% because I can see that pointers over my screen. Yes, and now give me a thumbs up telling that everyone, you got to know about the difference between the like when you can transfer the relationship. So even this can be expected as a question in the interview. MDR, master detail relationship. Can you transfer a relationship from the lookup to Master. So again, I'm checking for the raise hand. So if that is clear till this part, give me a attention for the raising hand. So now there are like 19 raise hands. I want to see maximum number. I want to see maximum number. Can we transfer master to lookup? Yes, it's possible. Yes, you can transfer records from master to lookup. But when you transfer master to lookup, a lot of sharing settings will get vary. So you should keep an eye when you transfer the lookup relationship. When you transfer any relationship, either lookup to master, master to lookup. So yeah, eye pointing should be there on the sharing settings, because as you know, like when you go for the lookup relationships, relationship is not independent. So like, it's completely independent, not dependent, right? So when you go for master detailed relationship, it is dependent upon the child to parent. So that you need to keep eye. Roll up summer field must be deleted. Yes, valid point, Ishwar. So if there is any existing roll up summer field in the master side, so then you can't transfer the relationship from the master to lookup. You must delete the roll up summary field. And thanks for adding a point to mine detailing. Ishwar, really appreciate this. Yes, roll up summary field should be deleted. So these are some points that you need to remember when you transfer the relationship from the one relationship to other relationship. Cool. Still, I'm waiting for the responses over the raising hand. I don't see maximum numbers has been reached. So expecting that everything is clear till this part. It's important because why I'm asking you a number of times, because I want to make sure that everything is clear what I was being discussing on the point. Okay, that's cool now. So we have been discussing the lookup relationships. And on that side, you can also see about the fields. Fields you can create in a field, and there are like no limited restrictions that to create in a fields in the object. You can create as many as you want, but only the thing is like there are the different data types. There are the different data types. So can you please list me some data types that you can use in the Salesforce field data types? Field data types. Please keep an attention for the field data types. I show you where you can find these field data types. And you should know at least the utilization of at least few field data types, how we are going to use in the Salesforce as in a beginning. See, the reason why I'm telling you that detail is like, my assumption is like you people are very new to the Salesforce. You're not having any idea on the Salesforce, even though you have an idea on the Salesforce. My assumption is like you are very new, brand new to the Salesforce, and I'm making you to get a quick recap on the Salesforce and the different concepts on the Salesforce, and what are the expected questions can be posed in the interview also. Okay, I'm just making you to be ready for the career fair which is coming, and this is a wonderful opportunities from the smart base providing to you all. So I hope you all grab an attention to this opportunity. Okay, so now this is a custom object we have been created, right? So let me open this custom object, and once I open this custom objects, I have details about the objects here, and in which I have a second option as a fields and relationships. Okay, and this is also important point, guys. Mentioning you once again. So you can expect a questions like this. What are the default fields? What are the system generated fields when a custom object has been generated? Repeating once again. So you might expect a question like this. What are the system generated fields when an object is created? So if you see, when I go for the fields and relationships, I have some field labels and with the field names. Do you feel like I have been created these fields? Obviously, you tell your answer is going to be no. I know. These are the standard fields. These are the standard fields. When a custom object is created, these are the four standard fields gets created, and these are fixed. Any object you created in the Salesforce, these four fields are going to be fixed, and there is no option of deleting these fields, but there is only one option of changing the data type of this name. If I go for edit, and again it is asking me if the classic versions, I didn't accept the cookies over here. So if I do that, I can open the lightning version. Okay, so only the thing is like you can just change that to the text to auto number, nothing else you can do this. Text to an auto number, nothing else. Okay, so remember this is important, and please remember these names. created by, last modified by, owner ID and the name. Owner ID and the name. So field label you can change, but the field name you can't change. And this name is going to refer as an API name. API name once generated, you can't change the API name. And even though you have an access to change the API name, that is not best recommendation. That is not a best recommendation. Clear? So these are the four. Now you have an option again that going to the fields and you have a new button over here. So once I click on this new button, now I have a list of so let me change this actually. So if I get this kind of option, what I do is like I just go for the settings and the privacy and settings and delete history third party cookies. I want to block allow third party cookies and just coming back to the Salesforce. So not this tab and this tab, even this not. So let me refresh this once. There you go. So you got to know how to change this. Just accept the third party cookies. With that, you can enable the lightning versions. Like when I'm trying to click on some link, it is asking me to open the classic version, right? So that's the reason now I went for the Chrome settings. It's just a Chrome settings, and from there I went for settings, and from there settings I went for the privacy and security. From there I just enabled the third party cookies acceptance. That's it. And with that settings, I was able to open now lightning version. Okay, so now if you see here, we have data types mentioned over here. Field data types, auto number, formula, lookup, and lookup summary still not yet highlighted, and it only gets highlighted for the master detail object, as you know. Okay, lookup relationship, master detail relationship, external lookup relationships, checkbox, currency, date, time, you can see, and each field it is also describing what does this field do. Let's suppose if I'm picking that's in a text and allows user to enter any combination of letter and the number. Allows user to enter any combination of the letter and the number. So that's the field data description. So please keep eye attention towards this. Okay, so there isn't a chance, right? You can't expect what kind of questions they are going to ask. So if they ask you something like, can you please list me some data types which are there in the fields? Then if they ask you something about the difference between the rich text area long, rich text area long and the text area rich, then this is the difference you need to tell. So if that is rich area long, it allows 1,31,000 characters on separate line, and if that is rich text area, so it is going to allow enter formats like text, add image, you can add links and up to this level. So characteristics lines are same, but here it allows you to enter the image also even. So that's a major difference. And if you see text area, and it allows up to 255 characters. And if you allow text, and it's a combination of letter as well as numbers. That's how you need to differentiate when they ask you comparison. Mostly comparison will be asking on these things, and or else they may be asking about the, can you please tell me something about an pick list and a multi-pick list. Okay, pick list allows user to select a value from the list of defined, and allows user to define multiple values for the list of defined. That means, so you can choose multiple values and you can choose one value for the pick list. So for this, if you want an example, pick list and a multi-pick list, let's suppose if I've asked you about the skill set. So in the skill set, you can mention multiple skills, right? You can tell that you have a knowledge on the Java, you have a knowledge on the Python, you have a knowledge on the JavaScript, HTML, CSS, RStudio, and any whatnot skills you can't mention there. So that's in a multi-pick list. So in that situation, you will be using a multi-pick list as a skill set. Okay, one example where you can use a multi-pick list. Multi-pick list, and if I want to pick a pick list value, okay, so directly, so if I'm asking about the address, so directly one address I can give Hyderabad. I can tell you that I can be in Hyderabad, I can also be in Andhra Pradesh. I can also be in some other Delhi, or I can be also some other like Odisha. I can't mention like that, right? Only one address I can make. So like in the list of Hyderabad, we have a multiple list over there. So in which I can choose only one value. In which I can choose only one value. So best example I can give here, like let's suppose I have a pick list value where I have a gender like this. Okay, let me add this also. So now you know, right? Obviously, I do choose this. Okay, so that's one situations where you can use a pick list and a multi-pick list. And here, if you see, there is no valid information will be there. Like there is no proper design that you will be going through if you use a multi-pick list for this kind of values, right? So obviously, you need to use a multi-pick list. And if you go here, skills like Java, Python, whatever you mention here, so there it is going to be a multi-pick list. Hope you all got the difference between the pick list and the multi-pick list from my side. Still, some people are telling that my screen is not visible. I'm pretty sure that my screen is visible to you all. Can you repeat pick list and multi-pick list? Yeah, very simple. Multi-pick list allows you to choose multiple values on the defined values. Pick list is like it allows you to choose only one value. Very simple answer. Okay, I really appreciate for the reasons like someone is mentioning the different types of data types over the Q&A. So cool. Best example for the pick list and multi-pick list. Thanks, Sheikh Mohammed. Okay, and let me move further. Okay, now let's we are done that we have been also discussed about the field data creations, right? So now let me talk something about the tab. Let me come this tab. Okay, as I told you that whenever you create an object, if that object wants to display for the front end, let me show you that example how I am talking. Okay, I don't want this tab now. Even I don't want this tab. I don't want this tab. I'm not okay. Let me come here. So let me go to the sales application, sales, right? Just sales. So I'm on a sales application once again. So I have come for the sales charter. No, even that also works. Okay. So if you see here, what are the tabs we call? These are the tabs. Charter is one tab, people is one tab, groups are one tab, files is one tab. Or else now, if I go for the sales application, and if I go for the sales application, and we have an n number of tabs over here, like opportunity, lead, task, files, account, contact, camping, all these things. And if you go for the more list also, I have some more objects over here, and I call this object as an not as an object. Now I call this object as an a tab. Why I am calling this as an a tab? When some object is displaying for the front end, and I consider that object as an a tab or an item, or an a tab or an a item. These are the two defined things. Okay. Now, if I want to add an object for a navigation bar or navigation item, that object should exist in the tab. So now if you see here, we have created an object, right? What is the object name we have been created? What is the custom object we have been created? Yes, you all right who are mentioning test is an object we have been created, right? If I want to include that test object in the sales application, obviously I want to have a tab for it. Now I have come in a place where I can add an items to the sales applications. So if I go for adding items, if I check for all items, if I type test here, I don't see I don't see an object exist to add into the sales application. Just because of this test is not having a tab. Just because of this test is not having a tab. Then how do I come to create this tab, like test tab into the sales? So for that, what I need to do is like I need to create a tab for the object. So where do I go now? So I need to go for the sales. I need to go to setup. Once after going to the setup, I do type here tab. So I have a section called tabs here. So I have a section called tabs here. From that section, if you see custom object, so in mine account till the time I didn't create any one of the tab. So that's the reason the tab section is empty. Now if I click on new, obviously what does it shows is whatever the existing custom objects, what are the existing custom objects which are not having tabs. So in mine account I have only one test or custom object. That's the reason it is showing in the test object. If this test object already having in a tab, then it doesn't display. It doesn't display here. So since this test object is not having in a tab, it is displaying as a test. Cool. Then test tab style. It's mandatory. We need to choose some tab style. Let me choose some cup over here. And if you want to describe about this tab, you can do this. And moving next. We have some more options over in the second tab and the third tab. We have some other option in the second tab and the third tab. Okay, so we will discuss this again when we are there on the section of profile and the roles, all these things. Okay, I'm just skipping all this part. Just let me include directly. So this is a place where you directly add the tab to the any application. So my target is to add in the sales application. Then let me see, let me do like this. So particularly I want that in the sales standard app, or else a sales lighting I will have. Sales, can you see sales lighting application is in a lightning application, sales standard sales is in a classic application. If you want to access the same object in the classic version as well as in a lightning version, you need to create two separate applications in the classic as well as in a lightning. Okay, object can be transferred from the lightning to classic, but an application cannot be transferred from the lightning to classic. So you need to create two separate applications with the name of lightning and with the name of classic. So that's the reason I'm choosing particularly here. I want to display that tab in the sales standard lightning sales. Okay, then that's it. I'm just making it proceed further. So that's it. I have created a tab now. So let me go back to the object sales application. This is my sales application. Let me check for the more options. So I don't have a test tab because I need to refresh this. Now let me check this. Still I don't have this option. Okay, it should populate automatically. Yep. Can you see test? I'm dragging this test and putting just next to the home test. Putting next to the opportunities, before to the opportunities and next to the home. So you can also change the order of the objects. It's your call. It's your call. Account, contact, opportunity, lead. I also want to add cases. Cases, then after test. It's my order. It's my wish. Okay, so that is the importance of the tab, and that is a tab we call. So expecting that again clear to you all. Is that clear? Is that clear? Cool, right? Everything looks fine. Okay, with this, I just want to pass in a session for this day. So any questions you have, you can ask me now. I'm open for the queries, and based on your queries, I will be staying on the call. So if queries are no queries there from your side, I'm gonna ram the session for this day. And I hope you all enjoyed the session for the day 1, and we will continue the same spirit for the day 2, 3, 4, 5. And I make sure that you have a basic idea how to attend a fresher interview, which is going to happen as a career fair from our side. And particularly this drive has been driven for the TCS. Okay, so it's a best opportunities that you can grab from your side, because there is a tough competition is going on the market. Once you leave from the academics, or once you are trying to get placed in any kind of opportunities for the particularly Salesforce. So and TCS is going to be one of the bigger company. So it's a good opportunity for you all to provide such kind of career opportunities from the smart page. So what is the out of the box functionalities? Out of the box functionalities is nothing but than a standard functionalities. And particularly we talk these terms in the service now, not in the Salesforce. Yes, you will get a recording session of this. I make sure that how you can access these recordings on the same mail where you have been received this link. I also ask the team to share the link over the same mail. And for the last time, I want to confirm that whether this session brought you an insightful, and does this session gives you a value added to your time or not. I just want to know from my inside as a feedback. There you go. Now I just check for the raising hands. How many hands are going to be raised? I make sure that day to day the value of the session is going to be increased, because as today is in a day one session, I just come up with a basic understanding of the Salesforce and how it started and what is the journey you need to go on. And tomorrow I bring up with the more technical terms on the day tomorrow, and I come up with a more development concepts where how questions has been asked, and I also provide in a document from my side where it consists of the multiple questions asked from different companies, from different companies. Still I'm checking for the raising hands. I want to know how effective this session went.